Hey, it's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. This video is on inversion. It's how to avoid problems. Here at Geek Psychology, we often approach problems as something that we need more motivation to overcome, or we need to set the things in the right place so that we can proceed through smoothly. And inversion is more about avoiding the obstacles that are going to block us and make things more difficult for us. So it's kind of a backwards way of looking at it, as the name inversion would imply. So as with most of these goal setting and refining videos, you need to start with a goal. You need to start with something that you want to succeed in, accomplish, overcome, get rid of, whatever it is. And the more positive you can state the goal in, the better. So not, I want to quit smoking, as much as I want to be healthier. But for now, work with what you have and try to kind of reframe it a little bit later. So you can start with the big three. The big three are health, wealth, and relationships. I threw out some ideas here. Health, you want a six-pack. You want to run more often or further or faster. You want to eat healthier, and you want to meditate. So those are some options within health. Obviously, if you have one that you actually have, please use that. You don't need to use mine. But these are just some goals to get you thinking, get you started. After that, wealth, you could be wanting to make $10,000 a month, 20,000 bucks, 100,000, 3,000, whatever it is. You could pick a financial goal. You could also want to pay off your bills, stop the debt collectors from calling you all the time, and possibly live wherever you want. Maybe you want to have that kind of nomadic freedom that lets you just uproot and go to a new place, go to a new city, and not having to be tied down to working at a desk at somebody else's office or something like that. Or within relationships, you want to find a partner, you want to find the love of your life, you want to solve some issue within the relationship, or you want more time together, or higher quality of time together. So you should fully craft the goal first. Make sure that it's smart. It's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed. I've talked about this in another video too, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but have the goal as specific as you can. You want the actual numbers, which is also part of measurable. You want the numbers, the qualities, the quantities. You want to make it as clear as possible, not just, I want to lose weight, I want a better relationship, or I want to be healthier, or I want to make up some more money. You want to give it specific numbers and things that let your unconscious mind and your conscious mind latch onto it a bit more and kind of pull you towards your actual goal. Make sure that it's realistic as well. It's achievable, attainable. It's not like maybe you're 50 years old and you've never been in a government position, but you want to be the president of the United States. That's, I don't want to break it to you bad, but it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. You could try it, you might be able to do it, but let's start with some easier ones until you get the hang of it, right? And from there, timed. This goes on with measurable as well. Make sure that you have the setup increments so that you know when you're actually making progress, and that you have some sort of time restriction so that it doesn't just feel like, oh yeah, I'll get to it some other day. It's fine. I don't need to worry about it right now. Like, you want to make it real and impending and a little bit more urgent. And something else you can do to make the goal a bit more real is to add visual, auditory, or kinesthetic details to it, or all of them, which is what you should really do. So when you picture your goal, picture yourself having already accomplished it. See that big, bright image wherever it is in your mind, and dig into the small details of it. the small visual details, or turn them up, make them brighter, play with the knobs a little bit, make it more appealing to you. Get nitty gritty on it. You could also go into the auditory, like what are you going to hear when you succeed? What are the sounds going to be? And the kinesthetic aspects, what are you going to feel? How is it actually going to feel when you go through your goal, when you reach it? And you could also do, taste and smell as well, if that helps, if that's one of the more appealing aspects to you. You can move the image closer to you to make it more appealing, make it bigger. There are a lot of different things that you can do that I've talked about in the other videos. So I'm not going to go into it too much now. And then timeline placement. Make sure that you use your timeline. Your timeline visualization technique is extremely helpful and important. So if you just close your eyes and imagine where you are right now, see yourself right now, and then imagine a track or a timeline going out from you, and which direction does it go in? Is it left to right? Is it out in front of you? Is it behind you to in front of you? Is it below you and up? Really try to get a good picture of where that timeline is within your mind. And you can do this by imagining something that happened yesterday, kind of reviewing that and see where do you place that image. And then you could go back 3 months, where is that image? 3 years, where is that image? And so you see the back end of the timeline. You can do that in the future too. Some real event that's going to happen tomorrow or next week or in 3 months, and place those images. And then from there, you can put your SMART goal on the timeline. So kind of imagine where it is. If it's a 3-year goal, then imagine 3 years from now, put it on that timeline and really experience it there. And see yourself now and see the goal in the future on the timeline. And we'll tap into this a little bit more on the last slide, all right? So moving on, let's get situated with inversion, the idea, the concept of inversion. So inversion is a goal approaching technique to get what you want, but really it's a mental model to think better, to think in new, more helpful ways. And you can look into Charlie Munger or Warren Buffett if you want more mental models. I'll be covering them quite a bit within all these videos as well. But it's kind of just a framework to help you get through problems or think about things in different ways, expand your mind, all that kind of stuff. So to invert can be defined as to put upside down or in the opposite position, order, or arrangement. Moving it around, flipping it top to bottom. Some synonyms: to turn back to front, reverse, flip, turn around. You know what to invert is. So you've done it in math class probably. And also if you think of a picture with the colors inverted, they're just flopped, switched around. And this, in other words, is a different perspective on problems, starting from the opposite direction. So you want to look at it from the back to the front, instead of the usual way of progressing through, which is, what am I at now and how do I reach my goal? How do I get to where I want to be? So one more time, inversion is where do I want to be, and looking back to now, what is the process like? What could be in the way? What could be causing difficulties? And how do I get rid of those? So expanding on that, inverting, you should think about what would potentially stop your progress. So if you want to be healthier because you smoke, you want to not smoke as much, right? So in order to invert that process, think about your goal, think about how you look, visualize it, get the smells and the tastes and the feels of how it actually is when you've completed your goal, when you're happier, healthier, and then think about what would have stopped you from getting to that position. Well, it's probably having cigarettes in your pocket, in your house, or some nearby place that you frequent that kind of triggers that smoking. With your relationships, if you're thinking about what could stop your progress from having a better, happier, healthier relationship as well, then it could be there's some topic that you constantly fight about. So whenever that's brought up, then you start to bicker and fight. And so that is something that is in the way of progressing towards your good goal. See what I mean? How it's looking backwards at it. It's inverting the process. And let's do wealth as well. If you have no money by the end of your paycheck period, and you're struggling with that, well, thinking backwards, how do you eliminate some of the pointless buys that you do? Maybe like whenever some new technology comes out, you just gotta have it. Or keeping money in your wallet leads you to spending it more often. Well, one way of stopping that is to not keep the money in your wallet. Find another place to put it. And that's going to get rid of one of those bumps in the road. So it's very important to identify these little or even massive bumps that are causing you problems in reaching your goal. So it's subtracting from the problems ahead instead of adding to the forward momentum of it. So as I said at the start, like a lot of times when we make our goals, we're trying to set everything in place so that we can push through, we can lift off, we can, maintain that focus. But this is looking at it from the end and going backwards and trying to get rid of those little problems. So if you know that something bad is going to happen when you go to this certain place, then you can avoid going to that certain place. And so if you avoid that, then you don't make any mistakes and things are easy and you're happier. So let's put it to use. Let's go through some questions here, some little steps that you can take to really ground this in your mind more. First, imagine going forward towards your goal. So we're going to go back to that timeline. If you didn't do this before and you just kind of listened while you're doing something else, you really need to do this. So imagine yourself now, see your timeline, and see where that goal is in the future. Where is it on your timeline? Okay, and then imagine going from now. You can close your eyes, you can float slowly towards that future goal. And as you're doing that, you'll realize that these images pop up and bubble up from your unconscious. And you can probably start seeing these flashes of different images, different events, different details. And some of them might not make sense right now. They don't have to be clear all the time. Your unconscious knows what it's doing. So just following it through is okay. Letting those images pop up as you reach your end goal. So imagine going through it now, if you have a 3-year goal. 1 month from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, 2 years, 3 years, and just kind of let the collage, let the montage play out in whatever way it will, and just let it do its thing. Okay, and what is that like? What does it feel like? Does it feel good? Are you motivated by it? Is it kind of a struggle? Or these, you see yourself struggling through these problems? Just really, how does it feel for you, having gone through that process? And then from there, see the situation from the reverse. So you are now at your goal. You've completed it. Congratulations, everything is good. So look just past your goal. What I mean by this is you have a 3-year goal, 3 years and 1 day. And just take one little step forward and look at your goal and look down the timeline all the way back to now. So how did that change things? You might notice that you feel more relief, less anxiety. Things just kind of feel good. You've completed it, you're done with it, and you've grown throughout that process. And looking at it like this, what is a potential obstacle that will derail your goal? So what is something in the way of your train on the tracks that is going to possibly cause you problems, slow you down, derail you, get in the way? So you can look at it forward or backwards right now because you've gone both ways, and just look for those problems, those bumps, those obstacles. What is going to cause you a problem? And what can you do to stop that from being a problem? If you know, like I said, if you know you just naturally start smoking when you see your cigarettes, then get rid of those cigarettes. Put them somewhere else. Don't buy them. Give somebody money every time that you buy them. Make it more painful, whatever you got to do to get rid of those things and stop them from being a problem. Find a way to eliminate and subtract from all those things that are just going to slow you down. And so if you can see all these places that you could fail or struggle, then you can get rid of them. And if you work to eliminate those problems, then you don't need to worry as much about motivating yourself to get through. If you know when you wake up in the morning, you just naturally start browsing Facebook and stuff like that instead of writing in your book or writing a book or studying or whatever you got to do, then don't pick up your phone. Put your phone in another room. Put something in the way that's going to make it inevitable that you actually do that instead of getting tripped up on the problem. Okay, so that was a real short but extremely powerful technique. Make sure that you try to remember it throughout your day and just kind of go over it and over it, because if you can see things from that other opposite perspective, then you're going to get a lot of benefits and you're going to be able to do things that other people can't do, because a lot of people are stuck in the now and looking at it in this linear forward progression instead of seeing it from other perspectives. All right, so thank you very much for watching. Keep up the lifelong questing. Good luck, have fun. Thank you.